Hey guys, Project Zodiac here. I'm back with another video, and as you can see, this is another unboxing and it's also another album unboxing. And this is a very special one because this is the 10th anniversary edition of Ben Howard's I Forget Where We Were album. So this year, 2024, makes 10 years since this album has released, and I'm very excited for this particular release. Um, there's a lot to say about this album. I won't give a full review of the album in this video, um, but I will tell my thoughts on about each of the songs and the band as a whole because while it might not be 10 years that I've been listening to Ben Howard, it has been close enough to that. It's going to be 9 years that I've been listening to Ben Howard, but I'll explain that towards the end of the video. So let's just go straight into this because I've actually had this sealed for a couple of weeks now. This arrived literally like a day or two after my Ben Howard How Are You Feeling EP arrived. So I'm now recording this in November instead of October and uploading it in November as well. So I'm sorry for the delay in getting this out, and there's been a lot of videos and a lot of things I had to take care of. But with that said, let's just go straight into the unboxing. So over here we have I Forget Where We Were, 10th Anniversary Edition, 180 gram heavyweight 2 LP, crystal clear vinyl. So this particular release is special for a couple of reasons, and I'll talk about that once we open it. We got this beautiful, weird, creepy, trippy, but poetic and almost surf-like atmospheric color scheme and pictures of Ben and these flowers and tree branches. It's very unique. I really like it, and that atmosphere that I just explained is basically how this album sounds, but we'll go into that a little bit more towards the end. So we got here I Forget Where We Were, Ben Howard, and then the back is all black. So yeah, and that's about it for this. Let's just go straight into the unboxing for this. I am very excited, as I had mentioned. So I know that for so many people, this album in particular, is this a gatefold? Not sure. I know it should be, because the original was. I'm so sorry about this. I'm trying to not damage it. Okay, there we go. I know for so many people, this album in particular is their favorite of Ben Howard's, which is a huge contrast because when this album originally released, they hated, or a lot of the fans that loved his first album, Every Kingdom, they hated this album's sound because it's so different. And then they hated Noonday Dream sound because that album, the third album, is even more different. So basically, every album that Ben and the band release, it's a totally different sound. And then fans of the very first album tend to pick on the new albums because it does not sound like the first album. But it's still amazing, and honestly, as good as the first album is, it is my least favorite of his because, well, for many reasons, mostly the creativity aspect of it. But that album is still amazing. I'm not saying it's bad, but that's a topic for another day, which I'll explain how that can be a topic for another day towards the end of this video. But now that we got the shrink wrap off, this is just so beautiful. It's better somehow without that shrink wrap. The colors are so vibrant, and it's so well done. But I'll talk about the artwork in a minute. Just for, well, all right, we'll compare to the original release in a little bit. So again, nothing here on the back. So yeah, this is, so it's not a gatefold like the original, sadly, but oh, wow, this is really cool. It's just like frequency and like colors moving around, and a bit of darkness and light in it. It's really, really interesting. So this is the, like I said, 10th anniversary for it, and the release for the 10th anniversary has been very interesting. But yeah, sorry, I'll come back to that. What I was saying earlier is this album was by big fan critics loved this album, but fans did not like the direction. But now it's basically fans' all-time favorite album for Ben Howard. So now people really wanted the new music to always sound like this, but still. So it's really nice that now this album has been getting this recognition, so much so that Ben and the band are doing a 10-year anniversary tour of just this album, and like a couple of songs from the How Are You Feeling EP and a couple of songs from Is It and Noonday Dream, but mostly it's just this album. So here we have some information and thanks. You guys can pause all of that here. Then we've got these songs. Fantastic music. We'll take a look at the records in just a moment. And then here's the other inner sleeve. This one's more branches compared to the other one. Then we've got the rest of the songs over here. Pretty interesting they did not include it here on the back. Now, what's really interesting and really cool about this 10th anniversary release is that it is a colored vinyl. And that's another reason why it's so special. So let's take a look here real quick. Okay, yeah, this is a little staticky. Wow, it's really just stuck in there. It's like vacuumed. I don't want to damage the sides. Okay, I'm gonna just get a proper inner sleeve in a few seconds and put this in there. But yeah, wow, this is so clear. This is probably like the clearest vinyl record that I have. But it's very fitting for the album itself. And it's so beautiful. Look at the grooves. And it's so cool that the grooves also have like that rainbow color in a way. I know that it's not intentional to match this. It's just the way that the light reflects on the clear plastic itself. So it's not supposed to be like intentionally like that. At least I don't think it is. But it works so well. So you can see the rainbow in the grooves, which is pretty cool. Okay, so we have side A over here. And then side B, and side B has, has a logo. So I'm actually gonna keep this out because I do not want to put it back in that sleeve. And yeah, this is, so I have all of Ben's albums on vinyl, on record. And I have all of them twice. All of them in their initial release, and then all of them in a colored variant. So the only one that I didn't is I Forget Where We Were, and also Is It, but I do have two copies of it. One is the Zoetrope, and then the other one is the one that I ordered from the website, and that one is already a colored vinyl anyway, so I guess the special for me would be the Zoetrope version. But yeah, so I Forgot Where We Were was the only one that I didn't have a second copy of, and one that was colored. So now I do. This one's more clear than the Noonday Dream one. The Noonday Dream one is a bit like foggy, but I also love that one because it fits it really well. So yeah, really cool. Okay, and yeah, it's just a very beautiful design. Let's just put this over here. Sorry about that. And now let's just compare this with the original cover. So this is the original cover. It's a very somber photo, and it really fits the aesthetic of the album really well. I don't know why for the vinyl it's cropped like this, like why there's these such thick white borders when everywhere else is just the black and white picture. But yeah, just so that you can compare it, So it does, well, we'll talk about the pictures in a little bit, but it's a very iconic Ben Howard picture. In the back, it's white. This here is actually a sticker that is included in it, and it was actually sealed like this. I decided to keep it here so the album name is here, and also just because I didn't want to peel it and have sticker residue there. So yeah, this is the original release. This here is more cardboard as opposed to this, which is more paper. And then here's the backs of these. So it's a little bit different overall. But then this is the regular one. And it does actually look like the pictures are different. Like here's side A for comparison. So definitely a different picture. But then it had the same aesthetic of this here being a colored one. So at least this doesn't feel so much, the 10th anniversary doesn't feel so much of a cop-out, basically, with how the packaging is. The biggest complaint really would be that it's not a gatefold, because that would have been really cool if it was. And then here's the gatefold image. Just a bunch of flowers. And then the track listing. And there's nothing else here on the inside. Yeah, the picture here is also a different one than the C side there, and then this one's black as well compared to the C side. So there isn't really much of a difference here in terms of the picture itself. There we go. So the picture itself, there isn't much of a difference here. As you can see, this is a full art, this is like a cropped art, and it almost looks like the same picture. But from what we know from behind the scenes photos that they were doing for promoting the 10th anniversary, it does seem like this was, for the 10th anniversary, an actual different photo, from what I understand. Especially in terms of the lighting, I guess. I guess that the lighting's a little bit different, unless they played with the lighting for editing. I'm not sure, I forgot. I do think it is supposed to be a different picture, just taken together. Because there are slight differences, especially with the color matching. But it could just really be the same picture. I need to look for that particular post again to verify. What I do know though is that this was, I think, originally going to be a potential album cover for the 10th for the original version, but they didn't use that one and they went with it for the 10th anniversary. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, so it's a really nice picture. Again, the music here, just a tiny little bit of a review, is that the music here is very, it is bright, and it is there are some somber moments, there are some moments that's trippy or psychedelic, there are some moments that's very folk, there are some moments that are very electronic. As I had mentioned, in 2015 is when I first discovered Ben Howard. I'm not going to go into the story for that, that's for another video. But the first song I heard from Ben Howard was Small Things, and then I believe the next one was Promise or To Be sorry. The first song I heard was Promise, and then I think the second song was Small Things or To Be Alone. And when I heard Small Things, which is the opening song for this album, I right away I was like, this dude is a genius, because literally that was my exact thoughts, that this guy is a genius, because he was mixing acoustic instruments with electronic instruments, and then later on for Small Things, and it's just amazing, that song. And then when I saw live videos of him playing this song live, Small Things, the song Small Things live, I was shocked. I was just so shocked, because those electronic sounds that I kept thinking that he kept mixing in with the folk instrumental and the folk acoustic instruments, it wasn't electronics. It was all with just an acoustic guitar, and it's just amazing. So Ben Howard and his band, which is his friends, and all formations of the band, because for those of you that don't know, I've talked about Ben Howard and the band various times on the channel. Um, so it's like there's like four formations of the band. It's Ben Howard, A Blaze of Feather, Tender Central, and R.D. Thomas. All four of these is literally the same people. It's just the focus switches. So it's like for when it's under the Ben Howard title, Ben is the focus. When it's under A Blaze of Feather, Mickey is the focus. So it's just really really cool. All of the band's formation is just so creative and just amazing. They're geniuses with music. So it's not just Ben, but the band as a whole is they're geniuses, and they play real music, and it's so creative and it's so fantastic. But yeah, so that was my original thoughts. So a little bit of a retrospective on 10 years of I forget where we were. And this album is just purely amazing. Again, I'm not going to go into a whole review of that. I'll do that in a different video much later on. But this album is amazing. The music here is just fantastic, and it really, I keep forgetting that it's not in here. And it really captures this tone really well. There's some songs where it's just so dark and sad and depressing, but so beautiful at the same time. And then there's some songs where there's so much light in it and it's just so beautiful, but there's, just that atmosphere of like, okay, there's all this beauty, but I just heard some sad songs a few minutes ago, so I'm like calming down from the sadness. And yeah, so the beauty songs, the loving songs, those are so bright and so amazing. So yeah, the album photo captures that so well, and it's really interesting because the song reflects how they were all feeling when they were recording this. There was a lot of hard things that they had to go through, and some good things as well. So yeah, the music, the promotional work all fits it so well. So yeah, so what I'm trying to get is there's some songs where it's just super dark, some songs where it's super light and happy, and then some songs where it's like a mixture of the two, and then some songs where it's just super colorful and uh, trippy, psychedelic, but also just creative and loving and in depth and complex at the same time. So this year is just really a perfect example of a fantastic album art to celebrate 10 years of this album. I'll go into the songs over here a little bit sooner, but just to finish off with the cover, this really just captures the two main tones of the song, and then the inner works, which with like the inner sleeves, it captures this element. So even the original version of the album had this good contrast, but you wouldn't see that if you just play it on your on Spotify, your streaming services, on YouTube, whatever. You would only see really the album cover. So this is one of the things that really makes collecting vinyls or CDs, not only just to support the artist, but also because you get these really cool things that you don't see, and it's important for the album because it really represents the album really well. Sadly, not a lot of bands do that, but Ben Howard always does. And Coldplay did for their Music of the Spheres Volume 1 and Volume 2, which is Moon Music for Volume 2, which I talked about earlier. So yeah, that was in November, October. Right now we're in November. We'll talk about that time frame a little bit more. But yeah, I'll talk about that in just one moment with the actual songs. What I want to talk about right now is the celebration of the 10 years. So they're doing a 10-year tour, and for many years Ben wouldn't play songs from his first album, and only a few songs from this album. When he came back with his third album, and then the other two albums after the third one. But for the 10-year anniversary, but starting actually with Is It, the newest album, he has been playing a little bit more other songs. He would play a few songs from this album during the Noonday Dream tour and the Is It performances, and the Is It tours as well. So he does play songs from this album. It's just like 3 or 4 of them, as opposed to like multiple of them. Um, and really it's almost always the same ones. He doesn't really change the song selection he gets from it. But for 10-year anniversary, they're doing a whole tour just for this album in particular. And then they had this release, so it's nice that we get a new version for it, a colored version. Really though, the only reason why, well, okay, we'll get to that in one moment. This though is not the only photo for the 10th anniversary. There's a different 10th anniversary picture, which is totally different. That picture is 100%, I'm sure it is different because it's not even the same position. So that photo is different, but Ben looks so small in it and it's mostly just black. I think that this captures the atmosphere way more than that album cover does. So yeah, so you can definitely go with that. It's more him like as a total shadow and only like an outline of him. It's a very beautiful picture as well. But this definitely captures the tone a lot more. But that album cover is also really good, and at least it's so much more different to the original one than this is. So, you know, I could have gone with that one, but that one didn't have the clear vinyl ones. It did have this like navy blue one, and I thought that was so beautiful. I really wanted to get that particular version of it, but I just thought that, you know, I had already pre-ordered this, and they only announced that one after this, so it would make no sense to just cancel it, especially since this photo does represent the album a lot more. But so this goes a little bit into my complaints with the How Are You Feeling EP, because they actually have 4 releases celebrating, at least that I can think of, 4 releases celebrating the 10th anniversary of this album. They have this one with the colored records. They have the one with the alternate photo, and so the third alternate photo, or sorry, the second alternate photo, because again, this is the first alternate photo, and then this one's the original. So yeah, they have that one, and I think that one has a version with different colors for records, but you know, all that one changes is the album cover and the color of the discs. But then you have a third version, which is like a deluxe version, which includes the How Are You Feeling EP, and is with the alternate cover, not this cover. And then you have a 4th release, basically, which is just the How Are You Feeling EP by itself. So at that point, it's like a lot of things celebrating it. You can buy this, or you could just buy the EP by itself, or you can buy this that includes the EP, but it has a different cover. So it can be a little bit confusing for fans. I decided to just buy the EP separately because, one, I had pre-ordered it before it was announced that it was going to be coming with that alternate version. But that alternate version of this does not even include the Am I in Your Light song. So Am I in Your Light is a vinyl exclusive song, and the version of this that includes the EP does not have Am I in Your Light. Only the version without the EP includes it. So you're losing a song by getting that. So it's a little bit problematic in how they handled this. But in regards to that, it made sense for me to just buy the EP itself because it's an actual EP, rather than having it be deluxe songs. It just makes more sense that way. So yeah, that's, you know, a few complaints about how they released this for the 10th anniversary. I do want to just quickly talk about, though, my favorite songs. or the songs here in general. Small Things is amazing. It's literally a masterpiece. It's one of my all-time favorite songs, and I relate to it so much. Rivers in Your Mouth is basically like a sequel to Small Things, and it's just so good. I forget where we were, the title track of the album. I always liked it. I always thought it was great. Um, but I always thought people overhyped this song so much. Like, I didn't think it was as good as people make it out to be. But the more I hear this song, I'm like, okay, yeah, this song is also just so much better than I thought. And it kind of became a lot more relatable as well. In Dreams is so good. It's almost like Leonard Cohen's Avalanche song. It's so fast paced, almost like a gypsy instrumentation kind of song, and it's just so creative and so fun. I love it. It's one of his best songs. She Treats Me Well is a romance song and so beautiful. Time is Dancing is one of the more psychedelic songs on the album, and it's just so beautiful. And the lyrics is so great as well. So I really love Time is Dancing as well. Evergreen is one of the darker songs on this album. Um, it's very morbid and sad, but it's so beautiful at the same time. End of the Affair is so beautiful. It's one of Ben's most beautiful songs, but it is so depressing. Like when I hear this song, I cry sometimes. This song is so beautiful. It is one of his masterpieces for sure. Like Small Things, In Dreams, End of the Affair, She Treats Me Well, and Is Dancing. These are some of his masterpieces for sure. Conrad, I always loved Conrad so much. I always liked it a little bit more than I forget where we were. It's really cool. All Is Now Harmed, I think, is probably the weakest song on the album for me. But it's still pretty cool. And Am I in Your Light is also pretty dark song with a little bit of some hope mixed into it as well. So the songs are, like I said, perfectly reflected on both covers. And yeah, I just really love this album a lot. But yeah, still not my favorite album of Ben Howard's because, well, I mean, he released Noonday Dream and Is It, and those are so much better. And he's in a much better place with those songs and those albums. But it is still a fantastic album overall, and I love it so much. It is a masterpiece, but I still think Noonday Dream and Is It are better masterpieces. And yeah, so this is 9 years of me also hearing Ben Howard, because I actually discovered Ben Howard from a project that I'm working on. I know this because of this project around September of 2015. And so he had just released this album in October 20th, 2014. So for about a year, and I was just so mad. It's like, why didn't I hear his music before? But that's a story for another day, because turns out I actually did. But that's I can talk about that when I unbox the 10th anniversary for his first album, Every Kingdom, because I actually still have that sealed and I've not opened it yet. So it would be cool to unbox that as well, and then I can kind of have unboxed just about every Ben Howard album. I think I did not do an unboxing for Collections from the Whiteout though. But yeah. So it was really cool that I discovered Ben Howard right when this album had just released, soon after it. And it's really cool. So this album is fantastic. So thank you, Ben and the band, for 10 years of this amazing album, and just for the 9 years of just releasing music and in various formats of the band that I love. So here's the 10th anniversary together, the re-release and the EP. And I'm mad because I got a record sleeve, but the actual record album is even smaller. So that's actually another complaint for this. Watch my video on this. You'll see some of my complaints on that. But yeah, these two together, the How Are You Feeling EP and the reissue with color discs. So happy 10th anniversary, guys. Listen to this album, listen to this band. They are amazing. With all that said, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good day.